Anybody that has watched my channel knows that I'm on the hunt for new irons. Hey everybody, Matt Williams Golf. And if you've watched the What's in My Bag series, you know the one thing that I want to replace more than anything else in my bag is my irons. My current irons are the TaylorMade RSI 2s. They are kind of a weird mix between, they're certainly not a blade by any means. They're more of a cavity back, but they're not a gross, egregious, thick, chunky cavity back. They are relatively strong lofted. And I think it's time for me to step up my iron game. The other thing I'll say is they're about 8 or 9 year old iron. So I think it's time for a new one. I'm really happy with everything else in my bag right now, so it's time for new irons. Well, guess what I'm testing out today? The Titleist T100s. And I'll tell you what, I am so excited to test out these irons. I've never actually had a Titleist iron before. In fact, other than my putter, which is a Scotty Cameron, I've never had a Titleist club before. So I'm really excited to test out these irons, stack them up against the numbers of my RSI 2. Now, for this review, I'm going to be hitting 3 different clubs: the pitching wedge, the 7-iron, and the 5-iron. We're going to be stacking those up against the numbers of my RSI 2, seeing how they compare, because remember what I'm looking for if you've watched the other videos in my series. We're looking for something that's going to give me the same distance but more spin. Same distance, more spin. That's what I'm looking for, right? And everybody, you know, it's amazing how many times I've had somebody comment, why don't you just get a higher spinning ball? No, because then that affects my other clubs that I don't want for, like driver. So with my irons, I'm wanting to produce more spin and more distance. There's a variety of factors in the overall metrics that I'm looking at, but those are the primary 2 categories. So without further ado, let's go ahead and start hitting the Titleist T100. The very first one we're going to start with is pitching wedge. So we're starting with the pitching wedge, which is 1 degree weaker than my current RSI 2s, which is as close as in terms of loft as we're going to get, 1 degree. The rest are going to get further and further apart. So here we go, our pitching wedge. Now, normally I would say I'm around a 130 carry with pitching wedge. So we're just going to see how close this gets to that number, if at all. Okay, 116 carry, 78 mile an hour club head speed, 6,400 RPM, 120 total. So these are all quite a bit less. Now this is only 1 degree weaker. I've got the True Temper AMT S300 Tour White shaft, and a really standard velvet Golf Pride grip. So far the first 2 have been significantly shorter. Well, they're going high. Okay. You know, I find this with every iron I review. I start recording, and the numbers just get better and better and better as I just get a little bit more comfortable with the club. Now, one thing I will say is, outside of that last one, I haven't struck this well at all. A lot of these have been low, heely kind of things. That one got right in the center of the face, carried 122, total 128. Apex 120 feet, so it's getting up in the air. Well, I think I'm getting more comfortable with this already. Yeah, there you go. All right, 134 carry. 134 carry, 141 total. 80 mile an hour club head speed. Now, that's interesting because this club head speed is 2 to 3 miles less than what I always get. Not exactly sure why that is. It's interesting. 117 carry. That felt flushed. Absolutely flushed. Height dropped down a little bit, 100 feet. Still 79 mile an hour club head speed. Now, that's interesting to me, because what I don't want to do is start pressing and trying to swing harder to get that club head speed up. The swing mechanics right now, flawed as they may be, feel like the dang same ones that produce 82 to 82 miles an hour with other pitching wedges. Well, without even looking at the TrackMan, I'm telling you, these are shorter. 122 carry. That's concerning to me when the pitching wedge is already 8 yards shorter than my average carry. Dispersion is still good though. Spin rate's great. That was good swing. Yeah, that's going to be 120s, I bet. Yeah, not even 117. 117 carry, 121 total. Club head speed finally cracked 80 miles an hour, 82. Height continues to be over 100 feet, which is pretty normal. Okay, we're not going to do many more. I think I'm getting the gist here. 123 carry, that was flushed. 6,300 spin rate. Still 79 mile an hour club head speed, and 127 total. That was flushed. I'm getting the gist. I see where this is going. Let's move on to 7-iron. What do you say? So for the last pitching wedge there, just so in case you're wondering, that was 128 carry. So I've only been near or over 130 just on a couple swings. The rest have been, gosh, the average guys, low 120s. Low 120s with the pitching wedge. Let's move on to 7-iron. Yeah, anytime I'm testing iron, 7-iron for me is the real truth teller. Now for the Titleist T100s, these 7-irons are 3 degrees weaker than what I currently have. 3 degrees. Definitely should expect less distance here. First one was hit well though. Oh! I'm sitting here holding my pose. Oh, that was hit well. Get this, guys. 147 carry, 151 total. If you aren't familiar with, I was 7-iron average, I don't know, 168 carry. Now, with 7-iron, my spin rate is upper 3,000s, low 4,000. And if you watch enough of my videos, you know I hate that. So I'm trying to get that spin rate up. Now, in the T100's defense, the spin rate was 7,100 RPM. But I thought I flushed that, and it went a whopping 147. Wow. Oh, wow. That was a little bit better swing in that I covered the ball, which is something I've been working on. I was able to cover the ball appropriately as I was coming through at impact. 160 carry, 164 total, 6,800 RPM. That's over 2,000 RPM more. That's pretty cool. That is pretty cool. Yeah. So I'm cheating here a little bit. Yeah, 164 carry, 173 total. Oh, that spin rate went way down. 5,000 mile-an-hour club head speed. Yeah. So when I say I'm cheating a little bit, I'm closing the club face just a little bit. Let me just hit a few with the club face. I should quit cheating there. It's just a normal alignment here. Oh boy, that felt great though. My goodness. Okay, well, good. Good. Because I didn't close the club face that time. 161 carry, 168 total. Spin rate 6,100. This apex is consistently over 100 feet again with 7 iron, which is great. Oh, a little chunky, I think. Oh, that was close though. I mean, that was close to a good swing. A little thick. Yeah, 158 carry. If that's a miss, that's a good miss though. That's a really good miss. Let's keep going. Man, I love the bull flight on this. Folks, I'm hitting it dead straight, if not even a little baby draw on this. Yeah, 165 carry, 171 total, which is not usual for me. Usually I play a slight cut or dead straight. Right now the T100 is consistently producing little baby draw. 6,600 RPM, 89 mile-an-hour club head speed, 171 total. Well, this is growing more and more on me. One thing I will say, though, is a couple misses here, and it didn't deliver a horrible signal that I missed it. It didn't feel terrible. A lot of golfers, well, some golfers, especially low handicappers, they want that signal. They want that response. I personally don't. I know for a variety of other reasons if I missed it or I didn't, but I don't want to feel crappy on top of it. Oh, lovely, 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 lovely. Dead straight. Only 159 carry. So it sure appears that the average is, I'd say 160. 7,000 RPM. 7,000. That's incredible. I don't normally produce that, and this is doing it all the time. Beautiful. Felt great. Let's see. Oh! 158 carry. There's just no getting around it. This is short. It's just a shorter iron. To be expected. I don't know why I'm acting surprised. It's 3 degrees weaker than my existing 7 iron. That said, I think pretty well. That was another 6,800 RPM, 157 carry, 161 total. Lovely, 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 lovely. There we go. Well, so if I kill it, it's a 165 carry, 170 total, 6,300 RPM. Let's move on to 5 iron here while we still got a little daylight left. Now the 5 iron is also, shoot, is it 2 or 3 degrees weaker? It's Definitely weaker. It's either 2 or 3 degrees weaker than my RSI 2s. Titleist T100 5-iron. Here we go. Freaking smoked the first one. Go, baby. What are you? Little draw again. Well, okay. Not terrible. 192 carry, 207 total, 92 mile-an-hour club head speed. A lot of my metrics, club path face angle. Those will get fixed another time. That's a different video series. Now, for point of reference, if you haven't seen before, on 5-iron with my RSI 2, I'm usually around 198 carry, 210 total. So this was 7 yards less, 6-7 yards less. Not bad though. Here we go. Yeah, not my best strike, but it'll be interesting to see for a miss how that did. That was a cutter. Whoa! Okay. 171 carry, 182 total. That's a miss. Miss that ends up going down. Got punished to the tune of over 20 yards. Almost 30 yards. That is more punishing than my miss with an RSI 2. That was not a miss. Go, baby. Huh. That felt smoked. And it was only a 185 carry. 196 total. And that felt rocked. I want to get back. The very first one I hit was the best. Come on now. Oh, yeah. Go. Yeah, you know, it's funny. You can see it in the air. You just know it. Just like all of you folks, when you hit one, you know whether it's got the legs or not, or whether you need it to sit down. I can tell on these. And what's funny is right off the club face, feels like I just smoked it, right? And that one only went 184 carry, 195 total. Oh, yeah. Okay, here's what I'm going to say right now. I'm going to announce this right now. T100, very small sweet spot. Very small sweet spot. That's kind of what I'm feeling. Is there some... So, in other words, not a lot of forgiveness. Not a lot of forgiveness. Well, there you go. Another one I thought I smoked, 86 carry, 200 total. I don't think if I just keep hitting away at this that I'm going to really average any better. I think that's the average. I think that's around the average, and I don't think I should expect to see a whole lot better. So, I mean, even if I keep swinging away with this 5-iron, even if I just absolutely annihilate a couple, that's fine, but that doesn't fall into the metrics, you know, because that isn't the average. We got to go off of what the true, real average is. And right now with 5-iron, I'd say the average around a 186 carry, 188 carry, probably 186 carry, probably around 200 total. Yeah, I mean, spin rate is spin rate. Spin rate, when I start to get my long irons, doesn't matter to me quite as much. But let's go ahead and summarize our thoughts on the T100. Well, upon further review, we evidently had some sort of technical difficulty, because when I got here to my home office to edit my video for the Titleist T100 review, I noticed, and I did shoot and film a full kind of summary while I was down at the range at Fiddler's Green. And evidently the audio in the microphone that I was using didn't work or didn't transmit somehow. So I'm going to do my very best to kind of recreate my final summary of the Titleist T100. Well, let's start with a few things. First of all, as I always do, let's start with looks. The Titleist T100, my friends, this is a lot easier when I have it in my hand. But the Titleist T100 was stunning. It was absolutely gorgeous. And I don't know, maybe just something looks a little sexier when it has the word Titleist on it. Perhaps. But it's a gorgeous freaking iron. It's not too busy. It doesn't have too much going on. It is a very, very lovely iron. I even loved the font of, say, the numbers, for each iron. I just loved everything about the looks. Standing over the ball, sitting there holding it in your hand, having it sit in your bag. No matter how you look at that iron, it is absolutely gorgeous. Now, what's interesting is I've never owned a Titleist club at all. I think I might have said this earlier in the video. The only Titleist club that I have in my bag that I've ever had is my putter, and it's a Scotty Cameron putter. Well, I've never owned anything else Titleist. So I was looking at these going, my goodness, they would look really good. Really, really good in my bag. And so I absolutely love the looks of them. I think they're absolutely spectacular. Just gorgeous. What about the feel? When you flush it, it feels spectacular. And in just a second, I'm going to talk about who I think these irons are for. I was really fortunate, as you may have noticed in the video. I don't know if I was lucky or if my swing is just improving. I was really fortunate to catch those irons really in the middle of the club face, and my dog just squeaked his toy. I don't know if you're going to hear it on the video, but I was really fortunate to catch him a majority of the time right in the center of the face of each of the irons, and now he's coughing. What a professional review. Bentley. All right, getting back to this. You're not supposed to be a part of this. Okay, well, this is one really professional YouTuber here, guys. So where were we? I think we were on feel. I was really fortunate to catch the iron right in the center of the face. And so consequently, I hit it really, really well. But here's what I noticed. When you miss it, it tells you in every way. It does not perform well. The performance drop-off, particularly in distance or carry, was, when you mishit it, was absolutely massive. It is not a forgiving iron. But when you hit it well, it felt fantastic. One thing of note in the performance box, though, is my club head speed was quite a bit lower with the T100 than not only my current existing irons, but basically any other iron that I've hit. I bet that it was somewhere in the neighborhood of 2 to 3 miles per hour slower than any of my other irons that I've tested. And now, I don't know what causes that. It's the same swing mechanics. In fact, I tested another club earlier in the day, the same day that I tested the Titleist, and my club head speed wasn't slower with those. So there's something about how that Titleist T100 is designed that just produced a slower club head speed for me, which I found really interesting. But yeah, the yardage, the distance. Let's talk about distance. The distance was a lot less than what I'm used to. Now, in Titleist defense, in the T100's defense, they are very traditionally lofted. So they're anywhere from 1 to 3 degrees weaker across the whole lineup of irons. They're 1 to 3 degrees weaker than what I currently have in the bag. And so being so traditionally lofted, as I said when I was hitting them, it should be anticipated that you're going to sacrifice some distance. I just kind of underestimated, because I have tested out other irons that are very traditionally lofted and did not sacrifice very much distance at all. However, with the Titleist T100, I was sacrificing really significant distance. I mean, like 8 yards with the pitching wedge. I think around 10 yards, as I recall, on the 7-iron. And with the 5-iron, I should go back and watch the video before I do a summary. With the 5-iron, I think it was a good solid 15 yards, 10 to 15 yards less with the 5-iron. Am I willing to sacrifice that much distance with my irons? No, I don't want to. I think there's other things that I've looked at, other things that I've tested, that I won't have to make that kind of serious sacrifice in distance. Now, you can make the argument that, hey, if you loved how everything else about the iron, if you loved other aspects of the performance, then you could just start dialing in what your yardage is for those clubs and start maybe clubbing up more than you used to. Yeah, I could do that. But the other thing I'd have to then think about is maybe now putting the 4-iron in the bag, and because I don't want to ditch any of my wedges, I've got driver 3-wood, I'd have to pull out one of my hybrids, and I do not want to do that. My 2 hybrids that I have, I play to very specific distances. I don't think the now 4-iron for the Titleist T100 is going to now cover the gap between 5-iron and my hybrid, not to mention I'd have to take a hybrid out. So for a variety of reasons, folks, the way I've got my bag set up, I just don't think the Titleist T100 is going to work for me. Let's talk about cost too. The Titleist T100s are a bit more on the expensive side. U.S. dollars, and it depends. You can find different deals all over the country, but they're about $1,400 U.S. And for those of you, for instance, some of my audience is in Great Britain, that would be in the neighborhood of about 1,100 to 1,200 pounds, I think, about 1,150 pounds maybe. So they're a relatively expensive iron set, and that I believe that's through 4 through pitching wedge for that price. So they're relatively expensive, which makes sense. They're a pretty premium iron. There's tour players right now playing the T100. So funny thing about that, this would maybe be the first or second iron, maybe even third iron now that I've tested that would actually be something that a tour player, professional golfer would consider hitting. So yeah, I mean, bottom line, folks, I love the looks of them. I love the felt of them. I hit them well a majority of the time. But, in the spin rate. Remember how I said I'm on that quest for, more spin? The T100 did not disappoint. It delivered a significant amount of spin. One thing I will say, and I've seen other reviewers have the same result, and I didn't know that until I got home, actually, and was Googling a little information. So, the Titleist T100, I was producing a draw. Now, my normal iron shot, with all my irons, is very, very straight, if not maybe a little bit of a cut. I was hitting a little bit of a baby draw with the Titleist T100s. Now, I was Googling some Titleist information when I got home, and I found with a number of club reviewers that was something, a number of them already naturally played a bit of a draw, and this accentuated their draw. So there's something about the offset, or however those clubs are designed, that are producing more of a draw, and I had the same result. So it did give me a little bit more of a draw, but I still had so much spin with the Titleist T100s. Having a draw wouldn't bother me in the least. So the Titleist T100, folks, is an amazing iron. Is it going to be a contender to go in my bag? No. And I'll say this. In fairness, I think it would be irresponsible for me to put it in the bag. I really do. I think that sometimes we need to just have a really... we need to be really honest with ourselves sometimes about what really works. It doesn't matter what you love, what you love the looks of, what brands you love. None of that matters. You need to be honest with yourself and really take a look at your game and say, is this iron appropriate for my skill level or for my game? And while I hit it, and I hit it consistently, the shot dispersion, by the way, was really, really tight. I just think it would be a little bit irresponsible to put it in my bag. I think maybe there's a more appropriate iron out there for me than the T100. Now, that does mean that I'm going to definitely be testing out the T200. I think the T300 is probably too much of a, I don't know, a little bit higher, meant for a little bit higher handicap. So I'm really excited to test out the T200, which I'll do in a future review, in a future video. So you'll want to stay tuned for that. Lastly, folks, who is the Titleist T100 for? I always want to address this question in every iron review I do, but yet in previous iron reviews, I've gotten a little bit criticized for saying that an iron is for a specific player or for a specific handicap. So I want to be careful, but I'm just going to say this. I think if you're going to play the T100, you better be a single-digit handicap, maybe even a low single-digit or a scratch or a plus handicap or a professional golfer. There's already guys, players on tour hitting the T100. And I think that just speaks volumes to what caliber of player you better be if you're going to play them. I'm an 8 handicap, and my handicap's dropping pretty regularly here. In fact, I just shot one of my lowest rounds here earlier this week of my life. And so, in fact, I had an even front. I was even through the front 9, kind of messed up a little bit on the back. But that's where I'm at right now. And I don't think I should be playing the T100s. So if you are a high single digits, if you're at 10, 12, 15, 20 handicap, the Titleist T100, in all fairness, I don't think is designed for you. But if you're a pretty dang good golfer, if you're a single digit handicap or a low single or a scratch golfer, folks, you got to go out and hit the Titleist T100. I think they're unbelievable. If I can hit it, and hit it well, then I think somebody that's a little bit better skill level than me is going to have an absolute ball with the Titleist T100, no pun intended. So that's my review of the Titleist T100, and I appreciate you guys watching all the way through. Now, if you currently have the Titleist T100s, or if you've hit them, or if you've been considering them, I'd love it if you'd leave a comment down below on what your thoughts or feedback has been of the Titleist T100. Even if you didn't end up getting them, I would love to know what your feedback is. As always, folks, I want to humbly ask you to subscribe to my channel. I'm going to continue to bring more and more iron reviews and all golf club reviews, putters, drivers, you name it. And then we're still going to have a lot of fun matches and other drills and things that we're working on, that we're going to continue to bring, hopefully, great content that's of value to you, even from a guy like me. So I really ask that you subscribe and hit that bell so that you don't miss any of that. Make sure and also maybe give this video a thumbs up if you like this. Very informal. I know I don't dive, I don't nerd out on the numbers as much as some golf club reviewers out there, but hopefully if you did like it and did enjoy this more what I call an informal review of clubs, then I ask you to give that a like. If you know anybody that's been considering, or if you know somebody that should be considering the Titleist T100 irons, I ask that you go ahead and share this video to them. Let them take a look at it, and maybe they'll also give it a like and leave a comment down below. Anyways, folks, I am having a blast doing all this stuff with y'all. I'm glad that you're along for the journey. I look forward to bringing you more content, and until I do, we'll see you guys later.